This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning. Thank you for choosing to worship with Lindale Mennonite Church today. Today is Youth Sunday, so the order of the service may be a little bit different, and that is why you cannot find the order of service in the bulletin. Today, we are going to talk about God's timing and how it impacts our faith journey. When I was 4, I got a certificate from my aunt for 1 semester of dance. Ever since then, I have taken dance classes. It has made me feel more confident in who I am as a person. I have begun to enjoy theater due to this love of dance. This is an example of how God's timing can impact our lives and who we are as people.
Good morning. Please stand if you're able and join us in singing.
Worship His holy name. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails.
And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28.
Good morning. Who am I? What do I want to do with my life? Who do I want to be? These are really big and sometimes scary questions, but these are questions that everyone has asked themselves at some point in their life. My friends and I have been wrestling with these questions a lot lately, as college application season has just finished or is quickly approaching for some others. These are really hard questions to answer at 17 years old. Not only do you have to know who you are, but you also then have to put everything that you are into an essay and hope that a stranger can see you. As Christians, those questions can take on a little bit of another form. Who am I becomes who does God want me to be? What do I want to do with my life? What does God want for me to do? How do I get there? God, will you lead me to where you want me to be? For me, it feels even more daunting when I add those questions on top of trying to figure out where I want to go to college. Am I aiming for a Christian university, or do I just try and ensure that there is some sort of ministry available on campus for students? While all of those questions can feel scary, another thought is, am I following God's call on my life? Often, we think we're doing what God has called us to do because we haven't heard him tell us anything different. But it is hard to hear God's voice when you have already decided what you want him to say. I think if you think that if you're following God's call in your life, you might not be listening to try and hear him say something else. When you do hear God's call, you will most likely feel called before you feel qualified, because it has always been a tactic of the enemy to make us believe that we are not enough as we are. But you're in luck, because our God does not call the equipped or the qualified, and he has already considered who you are when he calls you. Then, to those who say yes, he gives you the tools you need. He didn't just give his disciples all this power and say, okay, now do you want to go do things for me? You're on board now that you have all these things? No. He called them, and then they said yes, and then they were equipped with the power to drive out demons and cure diseases so they could go and proclaim the good news. You don't need more of anything, because you just need God's blessing on what you already have. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, never mind. If nothing changes, but you change, then everything changes. Because if you're doing what you think you need to do and you're like, oh, I'm good, but then you decide, I need Jesus. I'm going to walk with God and he's going to help me. Everything in your life is going to change. Even if you have the same job, still go to the same school, same church. And you will most likely have a revelation of what you feel like God wants you to do before God reveals to you what he's actually going to do. And when you have that revelation, you need to start working towards it before God's like, okay, go time, go. So when you think about the types of call, there are two types, the everyone call and the personal call. The everyone call obviously goes out to everyone. God is telling everyone what he wants them to do. This call is to say yes and to follow Jesus and to walk with him. The personal call is God telling you specifically what he wants you to do. I was watching a message by Sadie Robertson Huff, and she gave 9 ways that people respond to God's call. And I really liked the way she explained that, so I'm going to do my best to do it justice. The first type is the runaway. They hear God's call, and they run away from it. Think Jonah. God said, go to Nineveh, go preach to them because they're not doing what they need to do. And Jonah was like, no. He heard God and he ran the other way. And what happened because of that? He spent 3 days in a fish. And then he went back to God's call. He ended up doing what he was supposed to do anyway. The prove it. They typically ask for a sign. They believe that God will only use them once he proves that he is specifically talking to them. Think Thomas and Gideon. Thomas said, unless I see the nail marks in your hands and put my hand into your side, I will not believe that you're back. I won't believe that you need me to do more things. So when Jesus came back, he went over to Thomas and he was like, here you go. There's the holes in my hands. You can put your finger on my side if you want to. And then Thomas was fine. He was like, cool, you're back. Let's go. And Gideon, God chose him to save Israel. And Gideon was like, me? I don't think so. And so he made a bunch of crazy requests, like make all of the ground wet, but keep this one thing right here, keep that dry. And then do the opposite. Every single time, God did it. He proved that it was him and that he was calling Gideon. Jesus has told us that he is the sign. He doesn't want us to ask for a sign, but he will give it to you. The half listener. This type hears God's plan and then sort of does it. In other words, they do what they wanted to do all along. Adam and Eve. They were like, you can live in this garden and have amazing things, everything you could ever want, just don't eat the apple. And they're like, okay, we got it. We're not going to eat the apple. They ate the apple. They did not obey fully, so they did not get the fullness of God. Our God is such a good God. He's not going to strike you down if you don't follow his call for your life, but you will have such a fullness when you are walking in his will for your life, and nothing from this world will compare. The who me's. Pride is the downfall for this type. They think that their plan is better than God's, like King Saul. God said, go to this village and strike down everything. Don't take anything and just leave. And he kept the animals. He didn't listen. And God wished that he had never called him, and he found a new king. We start to follow God's plan. Oh my gosh, that was the next one. I lied. This one was Moses. He was insecure and scared. He didn't think that it was him that God wanted for this call. He said, I'm not fit to go talk to Egypt. I stutter, I don't know what I'm doing. And he talked his insecurities out and realized that his call was not about him. Because God's call for your life is not about who you are, but about who God is. The I got this. This one is King Saul, who did what I said he did. We start to follow God's plan, but then we see something that would be better for ourselves, so we take a quick left turn. Saul was all in. He was like, okay, yeah, we're going to go conquer the city. It's going to be great. But those animals look really nice. We don't have those. I'm going to do that instead. I want them. When God calls us to something, it is for his kingdom's purpose. It might not even make sense on earth. The comparers. This type has a call from God, but is distracted by other people's calls. They typically think that others' calls are better than ours. Think Simon Peter. When Jesus came back, he met Peter at Galilee. Jesus got to redeem the situation with Peter after Peter had denied him 3 times. He got to ask Peter 3 times, do you love me? And every time, Peter said yes. And then Jesus gave Peter his call. But right after that, Peter turned around and asked Jesus, but what about John? What are you going to do with him? And Jesus told him, and Peter didn't get it right. Peter misunderstood what Jesus had said about John, and then went and told the other disciples that John was going to live forever. Spoiler alert, he did not. That was not what John's call was. And Jesus called him out on it. Like in Jeremiah 29:11, God knows the plans that he has for you, your purpose, and your future. The overwhelmed. This type typically goes in strong to what God has called them to do, but then quickly gets overwhelmed by the call and wants to quit. Like Elijah. He had God send fire onto logs that were soaked in fire and soaked in water and perform all these miracles to prove that his God was the best God. But then he heard that Jezebel was trying to kill him, and he got scared and ran away, and he hid in a cave. And God spoke to him in a whisper. When you feel overwhelmed, you need to draw so near to God that you can hear him in a whisper. He will remind you that he is so much bigger than what you're facing, and you'll be given the strength to face the next thing. Because sometimes when you feel the least confident, that is when you should feel the most capable, because you know it wouldn't be happening without God. So he must be working through you. The look-backers. This type gets excited about what God is going to do, and then gets stuck in the past. They typically struggle with shame, which makes them hesitant or unsure if the life that God has will be better than the one that they have built. Like Lot's wife. She had only one rule: don't turn around. She turned around, and she turned to salt. Obviously, we're not going to turn to salt, but we'll get far and feel like God's going to do something really big in our lives. Then we're going to look back and stop. We get stuck in our past, thinking, well, God possibly can't use me. But let's be real. Most of the people that God used in the Bible had a past that you wouldn't think fit with their purpose. Moses was a murderer. Saul killed thousands of Christians. God even used prostitutes. He used every single one of those people to further his kingdom. When you're walking in the world's way, it might look cool, but it won't be filling. There is nothing that will feel better than walking in the way that God has laid out for you. The move makers. This type is characterized by faith. They hear the voice of God respond in obedience, like the disciples, Noah, Joseph, Joshua, David, Ananias, many others, and of course, most famously, Jesus. They are the move of God and make a kingdom impact all around them. The Spirit is with them, and the hand of God is on them, and you can see it. They are the ones who say, "Here I am, God," with no limits as to what you can do. Send me. You have to be okay with people thinking that you aren't qualified. You have to be okay with people thinking you can't do it, people hoping you'll fail, with the fact that some people will never understand you, never support you, never cheer you on. But you are okay to do it without their applause and their approval. You have to get to a place and a time where you can say, "That's okay, I wasn't doing it for you anyway." In the midst of all that you're doing, you're going to look around and see that the person beside you is called to something completely different. And you might be jealous because it looks like they're moving towards a very clear goal and you can't see where you're going. Your neighbor might have gotten married right out of high school and had kids, or your best friend might have married their high school sweetheart, or maybe your sister found her husband on a dating app. But they all led to the exact same place. All of them now have a family, a loving family. It's normal to not have the same life as someone else because we are all called to do different things. God may put you somewhere for what you think is one reason, but in reality, he put you there because he knew you would be in a position to help someone, like Esther. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not think I was going to be on this stage giving another sermon. I did this freshman year, and I said, okay, that's enough. One and done. I don't need to do that again. And yet here I am. I felt God nudging me towards this since shortly after the Youth Sunday last year. I laughed it off thinking, there's no way you want me to go on that stage again. I don't love public speaking or having everyone's eyes on me, but God kept pushing me, telling me this is exactly where he wanted me to be, right here, right now, talking to you. Then, of course, I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? And God's calling and his plan in our lives just kept resurfacing in our head. When I was younger, I never thought that my dream job was going to end up being a nurse. I thought I'd be a teacher or a vet, but I continually felt this push to look into nursing and to pursue that road. Now, I've applied to multiple colleges with the intent to study nursing. So, while my plans from when I was younger might have changed, I feel confident that the next steps that I intend to take will be walking in the way that the Lord has chosen for me.
In Jeremiah 29:11, it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future."
At this time, I invite the ushers to come forward for this morning's offering, and please pass the friendship registers that are at the end of each aisle. Please join me in prayer. Dear God, we offer you our praise, we offer you our hearts, we offer you our money, we offer you our lives. Thank you for everything you give to us. Amen.
We've now came to our time for a morning announcement, so if anyone has an announcement, raise your hand and an usher in the back will bring you a mic.
Evie King. I just wanted to be sure that people noticed in the Friday announcements that LMW is collecting non-perishable food for the Bohr family. Remember being up in Henry and Edna's garage on more than one occasion and seeing a table there with various items of food on it, and Edna would always say, yeah, Henry's collecting food for the Bohrs, and that's not happening anymore. So just want to give the church an opportunity to help them out. We're collecting yet next Sunday. So there's a cart in the foyer, and if you would like to participate in that, bring your donations next Sunday. Thank you.
Okay, we will begin the call to worship now. So we've already switched up the service a little bit, but we're going to switch up the call to worship a little bit too. So I will read the bold, and you will read the part that isn't bolded, and the part that's like italicized at the end, we will all read together. Lord, you have been our dwelling place in all generations. You turn us back to dust and say, "Turn back, you mortals." You sweep them away. They are like a dream, like grass that is renewed in the morning. For all our days pass away under your wrath. Our years come to an end like a spring. So teach us how to count our days that we may gain a wise heart. Turn, O Lord, how long? Have compassion on your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, so that we may rejoice and be glad all our days.
for the children's moment.
Hi, thank you for coming down for the Children's Moment. I have a question for y'all. Did you notice anything different about the service today?
You guys were teaching instead? You guys were preaching?
Yeah.
It's Youth Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It was ran by teenagers. There was no adult singing.
The order of the service was different.
Yes, those are all correct.
Have you ever had to wait patiently for something? How did that make you feel?
Annoyed.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Yeah, well, this morning we are learning about God's timing, and sometimes we have to wait patiently for God.
All right, so we're going to play a little bit of a game here. So I have this stopwatch on my phone, and we're going to have some people come up, and when I say go, I'm going to push start on the timer, and when you think it's been 10 seconds, you're going to say stop, and we're going to see who can get the closest to 10 seconds. Is there anyone who wants to try? Logan, I saw your hand first. Ready, set, go. All right, 2.41. Good job, Logan, good job. Anyone else? Yeah. Ready? Go.
Stop.
10.66. That was pretty good. All right, I need one more. Let's go, Levi. Ready? Go.
Stop.
9.78. Good job. Good job, guys.
Okay, so just like the timer game, sometimes we don't know when God's timing is going to happen. It's hard to know when the timer was going to hit 10 seconds, just like it's hard to know God's timing. We don't know when our prayers will be answered or how they will be answered, but God is consistently working in our lives.
Okay, so I have a little story for you all that we're going to read about a little mouse who has to wait very patiently for his birthday. This is called How Many Sleeps. Toast woke early one morning. He knew that something was going to happen, and it was going to happen soon. He could smell it in the quiet morning air, and the mist still hugging the ground, and the autumn leaves trembling on the branches ready to tumble, a golden blanket over the wood. Toast watched, waiting for the first leaf to fall, because when the first leaf fell, that meant it was nearly his birthday. "How many sleeps till my birthday?" he asked, as Mommy tucked him in. "Too many to start counting now," smiled Mommy. "How many sleeps till my birthday?" Toast asked the next night, and the next, until one night, Mommy said, "Just enough sleeps to deliver party invitations to all your friends." So the next day, that is exactly what they did. They delivered invitations all the way from the little hollow to the big oak tree to Rabbit, Mole, and Squirrel Redtail. "How many sleeps till my birthday now, Mommy?" murmured Toast, so tired from his long walk. "Just enough sleeps to go collecting party treats," whispered Mommy. After breakfast, they gathered armfuls of gold and rubies and special leaves for wrappings. "How many sleeps till my birthday? From this exact moment," Toast wondered, right in the middle of his bedtime story. "Exactly enough sleeps to help Mommy decorate the cake," said Daddy. In the morning, Mommy and Toast picked petals and berries and nuts for the cake. Then together they decorated it so that it was the best birthday cake Toast had ever seen. In bed each evening, Toast lay dreaming of invitation delivering, of party treats, of birthday cake, and of what his present might be. And each evening, Daddy wondered, quite worriedly, how many more sleeps till Toast's birthday? "Just enough, I'm sure," Mommy always said, secretly crossing her fingers. "Guess how many sleeps now, Toast?" said Mommy one morning. "How many?" wailed Daddy. "Just enough to wrap the party treats, put the candles on the cake, and get an extra special early night." "But that means," squeaked Toast, "that means my birthday is tomorrow." And it was. And there was easily enough time to love the gifts, play the party games, and eat up all the cake. And best of all, time for Toast to open a very special present and let all his friends share in the fun. When Toast's day had drawn to an end and he was giving Daddy a hug, he whispered dreamily, "How many sleeps till my next birthday?" "Just enough sleeps for Daddy to start on your next present," Mommy whispered back. But Toast was already asleep. So I just had a birthday yesterday, and just like in this book, it was very hard to wait. It's very exciting. Have you all ever had to wait patiently for something, like your birthday? Yeah? Was it hard? Oh, you had to wait for dinner? Yeah, that's a hard one. Like in the story, sometimes we have to wait patiently for God to answer our prayers and have patience for his timing. We don't always know when God is going to answer our prayers or do something in our life, but he is constantly working for us, and he is always on our side. So he has a plan for us, even if we have to be patient. Just like Toast had to be patient for his birthday in this book, we can be patient for God's timing. Now, Nora will hand out a snack to you, and then you can go back to your seats. Thank you.
I see the work of your hands, galaxies spinning a heavenly dance. Oh God, all that you are is so overwhelming. I hear the sound of your voice, all at once it's a gentle and thundering noise. Oh God, all that you are, so overwhelming. I delight myself in you, captivated by your beauty. I'm overwhelmed by
to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, courage to change the things that should be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish the one from the other, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen.
Please stand for the sending song.